ช่วงนี้เรายังคงจับกระแสความเคลื่อนไหวด้านเทคโนโลยีนะคะภายในงาน Startup Thailand Innovation Thailand Expo แล้วก็ทีม Tourism and Entertainment Rebound ซึ่งเป็น1ใน6 ทีมหลักของเวทีฟอรัมนะคะเราก็จะมาดูในเรื่องของ MarTech ค่ะกับหัวข้ออนาคตของเกมออนไลน์จะเป็นอย่างไรนะคะวันนี้สปีกเกอร์ของเรานั้นจะจอยเราผ่าน Zoom แล้วก็ช่วงนี้เรามี Moderator รับเชิญด้วยนะคะ And next moving on to the topic of the future of gaming, online gaming, we're very delighted to be joined by Pontus Mahler, Director of Business Development of Gtr, and the session will be moderated by Kun Piyapong Moonprasadee, Co-founder and Director of Educational, Governmental and Overseas Partnership of Fangjai Company Limited. So it's good to have you back here in the studio, and also very pleased to be joined by our speaker. So please take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Hello, Pontus. How are you doing? Oh, no audio. I cannot hear you. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello. I hear you now. Okay.
Okay, great. Yes. I was saying I'm actually doing really good, you know. We're lucky enough here in Thailand that we don't have too many issues. So, yeah, doing just fine, thanks.
Are you in Thailand right now?
Yes, I've been in Thailand for full-time for over 4 years. And right now, of course, due to the COVID situation and the lack of travel, I'm stuck here for a while, but this is where we have, you know, our operation office, and I live here.
All right. Well, it would be nice if you were here in the studio.
Exactly. I wish we could do more offline things, but I guess that will be here soon enough.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. So I guess I won't take your time. Please go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, so today we're here to speak a little bit about, you know, the online gaming market and what we do as our company and how we hope to change things in the future. So the title of the presentation is, you know, how to market video games, but actually, you know, we're going to be talking a little bit more broadly about the online gaming industry as a whole. But first, let me just give you like a brief about myself. So my name is Pontus Mahler. I'm the Director of Business Development for Global Top Round and G Round, the two companies that we're here to speak about today. I actually come from a background of professional gaming. So before I actually moved here full time, I was an online gamer. I played professionally in a game called Heroes of New Earth. And that was actually the most popular game in Thailand for a while. So that's how I kind of got connected. So for almost 8 years, I was traveling here every year to the Garena Star League in Baitek Bang Na to play the World Finals in front of tons of fans. And this was my first magazine cover after I attended GSL on Garena's behalf. About 4 years ago or so, I decided to move here full-time, and I've been here since then. Very quickly, I joined a company called Neolution Esport, which is a peripherals and gaming company here, where I was the CEO of the esports division for about 2 years or so. Other than that, I have worked with a couple of companies here in Thailand, such as Garena, Tencent, Sandbox Global, a tech company, and I also worked briefly with AIS as well, the telecom. So I've been kind of involved in the industry here for the last 8 to 10 years, but primarily I've been working very closely with Garena on creating content and helping educate the Thai community on, you know, how to play games more efficiently. Nowadays, of course, I am focused more on the investment side, more on the startup side of the gaming industry, and less on that whole esport and like playing the games themselves. But I'm super excited to be here to be able to help, you know, startups grow all over the world. So let's start digging into that a little bit. Okay, so yes, we Global Top Round, we are actually a global accelerator / investment company. Originally, we come from Korea, our headquarters is there, but we have businesses all over the world. So this here in Thailand is our operation office, so to speak. This is where we have our marketing, our community, and a lot of Thai staff that works very closely with us. Over in Korea, we have our development team, and then we have a business team in Europe and America as well. So what we actually do is that every single year, we travel a lot. Right now, of course, that is not possible, so we have to do a lot of digital events. So thank you for the invitation to this one. And we try to, of course, present ourselves to a lot of different startups that are good at creating content. Now, it's important to know that we only invest in video game companies. That means you need to have an idea, you need to have like content or some sort of product to present to us in order for you to be eligible to get our investment. We do not do like gaming tech or like platform technology. We're focusing a lot on like building a business with the content, which in this case would be a video game. So last year we had 310 startups applying to our program, wanting to get our business advice and our investment, which is of course super great. And normally we don't have to do any marketing. Of course, Thailand right now, we don't have a lot of studios around here that are building their own games. We have the big corporations, the AAA, but we of course hope to actually help the Thai community and help the country start more businesses within video games, right? There is a huge opportunity here in Southeast Asia in particular, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, all these neighboring countries, to actually create something from scratch, take your favorite project from school or from your previous jobs, create something new. And we hope to keep doing that here. So we have one investment in Thailand already. It's a studio called Pixel Perfects, led by a person called Anucha, and they developed a game called Earth Atlantis. And that's only one company. We would, of course, love to have a lot more. So if you are a Thai developer, it would be great if you can get in touch with us. So how we select our studios is by, you can apply to us online at globaltopround.com, but also, of course, you can set up a conference call with myself or one of my colleagues, present your company, present your pitch deck so we can take a look at it. At the end of each year, we do an offline event called the Gtr Annual Conference, which is going to be in Malta this year. Of course, due to the COVID situation, we have delayed this to early January next year. It's January 16th to 17th. Otherwise, it's usually in October or September. We want to meet you offline. Of course, being an investor, we always want to see the people we're going to work with, and online doesn't exactly cover that. But of course, if the COVID situation gets worse in other countries, then we'll have to do a digital event. But normally it's offline. So at this offline event, we invite the 20 best startups that we found during that entire year. Out of those 20, we're only going to pick 10. So every single year, again, like 10 investments, different countries, different genres. We pay for your flight, we pay for your hotel, so you don't have to worry about the travel cost or anything like that. We want you to come to our offline event. We want you to present yourself in the best manner and not have to worry about external factors. Every year, it's in a different country. So Malta this year. Next year, we're looking at Europe or maybe even potentially Southeast Asia. We'll see. But it's important to us to always be like all over the world and, take our potential investments to, experience different things. So it's a 2-day event. The first event is like pitching to us. It's pitching in front of 30 to 60 publishers and investors. So just like in other industries, there are specific gaming VCs and gaming publishers that are looking for new talent, new types of companies. So we invite them to our event. So you not only pitch to us, you also pitch to 30 to 60 companies, which is something that's very important because even if you don't get picked by us, there might be another VC or someone in that room that actually loves your idea and because of this invests in your company. And we've had a couple of those cases already because of course we have our specific cases that we like and other VCs and other publishers like other types of projects. So that's important to us. So I mentioned that we have between 30 and 60 publishers. So usually we're about 100 people at this offline event. It is very casual. It's not one of these like super intense or hardcore events. All you have to do is you have 7 minutes to pitch. It could be 6, and I'm making a mistake here, but if I recall correctly, it's 7, where you pitch on day number 1. So we have speaker sessions, and then we have a 7-minute pitch for each and every company. Now, the second day, you actually get to present your content as well. So every single person at this event actually gets to try your content and, check it out to see if they actually like it or not. And, one thing that's really important in any startup, but especially in the gaming industry, is showing growth. So when you're like presenting your game on this day and you're getting access to all of these VCs, all of these publishers and ourselves, we want to see like how fast you scale your product, how quickly you can improve the game itself within the next 3 to 6 months. So yeah, I mentioned it says Montreal here, but it's supposed to be Malta, so that's a mistake in my deck. Apologies for that. Due to the COVID situation, we can't go to North America this year. But what we actually provide for each and every one of our studios, like I mentioned, we're an accelerator/investor mix. So a lot of the gaming startups or startups in general, they don't really have that business expertise that is necessary to scale your company in the right way with the right strategy. A lot of startups make the mistake of scaling too fast, for example, once they get money, or they take the money from the wrong people or a partner that is not really going to add anything towards your company. So what we add is that after we've invested in your company, which is equity, we're going to get into that a bit later, we're actually part of your business team. So you can kind of see us like a co-CEO, co-CFO, like basically a C-level that working side by side with you, but it's important to note that we don't take control of your company. So we're not going to tell you what to do. We're going to advise you what to do, and you still hold the signature. So to us, you have access to us 24/7 through a program called Discord, where you can talk to us about any issues you may have. You also have access to all of our previous investments. So we've been doing this for 5 years now. We have 47 investments in 27 countries. So you can talk to all of the people that we worked with. And of course, you'll have your private channel where we can help you with game development consulting. So that means helping you with the game design, helping you with the GDD, and other types of documentation that you're preparing. Can also help connect you with the right people if you need like a new story writer or more employees in other areas. And we also help you with all the fundraising and publishing negotiations. So what that means is that when your company is ready for it and you're ready to raise another round, whether it's a seed round or a Series A, Series B, we're there to help alongside you. We help do the evaluation for your company. We help reviewing the terms, and then we actually execute it for you as well. So just recently, in the last few months, we raised 2 rounds of 300,000 euros and $213,000 respectively for 2 of our companies. That's just in the last couple of months, and that's from actual angel investors. So that's not even at the Series A stage yet. Because of course, a lot of startups, you're in the pre-seed or seed stage maybe. So we're able to support you all the way from the pre-seed, which is usually our investment, until the end when you need a Series A or even an M&A or an IPO. We have all the connections in the industry to every publisher and investor. So if there's specific people you want to introduce your project to, we can also help you with that. So we set up kind of like a growth strategy or a business plan for you and your company so that you can scale very slowly, but yet successfully. And you're not going too quickly. And once you're ready, we'll introduce you to the relevant parties to continue to grow your business. Now, after the initial 3 to 6 months, we're going to have another offline workshop. We actually were targeting to do that this year in May in Bangkok. But because, of course, the COVID situation, we did it digitally instead. Next year, we're hoping to do one in Bangkok again. So that's kind of like a catch-up session. And it is also an opportunity for you to pitch to VCs and publishers again. So if your company is ready, your product is ready, we'll invite one-on-one sessions with some of the most prominent names in the industry to try and get you a deal so that you can keep growing the company. Now, we're going to dig into a little bit challenges that we have when you're like trying to market your game and like, what do I do now kind of thing. So there are a couple of different challenges when it comes to like actually marketing your game or like figuring out where to target it towards too. The first question is like, how are you actually going to market it, right? Nowadays, there are so many different channels where you can market your game. It can be influencer marketing, it can be Facebook, Google, it can be TV ads, billboards, whatever it may be. But there is also the question of who will you market the game to? And that's something that a lot of companies forget. It's not just a matter of, spending money everywhere and try to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to spend a little bit on Facebook, a little bit on Google. It's like, what is your actual target audience? So what we always tell our companies is that when you're developing your product or your game, you should already in the concept stage know which are the target people you're going for. As a great example, in Thailand right now, of course, we have the game Realm of Valor by Garena, or ROV. I'm pretty sure everyone plays this game in this country right now. And that game failed in North America and Europe. The game launched and they tried to like make it a success, but us Europeans, we didn't care, and the Americans didn't care, right? Because we all have different things that we like. We like to play, we like to enjoy, and like different kinds of concepts and culture implemented in the game itself. So we're in your concept stage, and when you're developing it into a prototype or an alpha or a beta type of game, you should already be considering who you're going to be aiming this game towards. If you haven't, you're going to be basically going to have to go back and reskin your game or add changes and stuff like that. A great example is Garena released, the game that I played, Heroes of Newerth, right? Once Garena realized that the game is super popular in Thailand, they started implementing like Songkran avatars and skins. They started implementing like Thai culture and Thai events. That's something that's really great, and Garena is able to do so because they have a lot of money. But you guys who are startups, or most startups, they don't have the kind of money to keep experimenting, keep looking around, launch in several markets. That's not something we have the luxury to do. Not our portfolio companies, and probably not most of you either. So when you're in the early concept stage, it's important for you to figure out whether you're going to market your game to. And that kind of brings you into the next 2 questions. How are you going to find a great publishing partner, and how will you secure the funding? Now, I can tell you that if you come to someone like myself and you're pitching a game with no idea of where the market is or who you're going to market it to, you've already kind of lost me. And this goes for most investors and publishers. When you come to us with a pitch deck or with a product that you want to show to us, I'm expecting you to know where to launch it. I'm expecting you to know where to market it, or at least I want you to have like a strategy or an idea to do so. Because a strategy can be adapted, it can be improved over time. But if you just come to us with, I have a cool game, that's not enough, People like myself, I read 1,000 or 2,000 pitches a year, if not more. And other investors and publishers with a bigger name than us, they read even more than that. So it's important that within your pitch deck, you actually go into these details. So the reason you have to do that is because, number one, if you don't, there is no data to back up decision making. And then the publisher and investor will have to go on your background alone. Now, not all startups, have like a huge AAA background or a AA or a big corporation background, right? So if I'm on the pitch deck and, I have like worked with Garena for 8 years, of course, then that's really good. It looks like I have, a good background, maybe that I'm trustworthy or whatever. But most of the startups that we work with, this is their first product. This is their first startup. So if you don't have that huge team background or worked on many different types of games and built companies before, why would I trust you as a person just right off the bat, right? That's why it's important for you to come to us with your data and show us, like, what have you been testing so far? What did you design it towards? And then we can work on that together to make it better. So at the very least, it's always important to include in your slides, we're going to go into that in the next slide too, more information about your target market and where you're going to market it. And a lot of the times, the publishers and investors, we take a lot of risks. We give you all the money that you need. And then, there's not a super high chance of success at all times. In the gaming startup industry, 95 to 99% of startups kind of die off. So it's a really low chance of success generally, which is why we've designed the program in a way where, we take care of the business, you focus on the game, and that's kind of like a perfect relationship for us. So we talked about how markets vary differently. In Southeast Asia, ROV is amazing. In the EU, it's not that amazing, right? So when you're developing your game, you need to try to figure out, is this a game for the global audience? Is this a game for just, Southeast Asia or just China, for example? This is something that I'm going to dig into next slide. So I'm just going to skip ahead right here. So when you're preparing for where you're going to be launching, it comes down to several factors. Number one, are there any competitors within your type of game? Are there any other genres or counter products that are very similar to yours? Then you can use them as a benchmark. Because benchmarks are always great to take a look at when you can see other projects in the same industry, how have they done, where did they target, and you can use that. If you're a niche product, however, or you're something new, or you've combined several genres to create something new and exciting, you don't have that. So that what we hope is that you've actually tested your proof of concept. So supporting data for your deck is really important to have. It can be as low as 100 people, 200, 500, 1,000, whatever you can afford or whatever is in your network. Try to have some supporting data with your proof of concept. Random people you've never met, Facebook ads, friends, family, and their friends and their family. Bring something to the table, especially if it's niche and unique, because gaming is not exactly like a tech product, right? When you make a tech product and you have something unique and niche, you're solving a problem. When you solve a problem, people will buy it. In gaming, you're not solving any problem. You're trying to get people interested into an entertainment product. So you need to convince them that your new unique idea, your new niche, is going to be a success. That's not up to the user. That's not up to us to figure out. So test your proof of concept. If you have something unique and niche, very important. If you don't, you have something fresh, maybe I'm going to use Battle Royale, but it's very oversaturated right now. But if you have a Battle Royale, what makes you different from PUBG? What makes it different from these other products? And finally, with that supporting data is, like I mentioned, where were these people from? Where were the people from when you tested it? Because that's going to be important as well. In the pitch deck itself, it's important that you have the supporting data content. We just said that. Bring in as much data as possible. We want to see about your company. We want to see about your background. So even though you don't have a huge AAA background, you haven't worked for Garena or a big company, that's fine. For us as GTR, we focus on your product. So if your game is really good, we're still interested. So that's totally fine. I still want to know where you're coming from, where you went to school, where you've been traveling, what other outsourcing work you've been doing, anything that you can give us on the background of you. Now, secondly is, what is the background of your company? And what is the future of the company? A lot of the times when gaming companies come to us, they focus too much on one product. They focus okay, I'm here to pitch Pontus today with this new cool game that is going to be better than ROV, et cetera, et cetera. Great, that's awesome, but then what? Investors and publishers as well, we're interested in your long term. A lot of the times, a lot of the startups forget about projections, because even though gaming is not like a tech or a sale projection type of deal, it is still a way for us to see, okay, you're going to develop let's say Pontus game 1 now, Pontus game 2 later, Pontus game 3 later. We want to see like the next 2 to 5 years what you're planning around. And most importantly, the roadmap of this entire thing. So if you're like 6 months into your startup now, you're going to release a game in 12 months. When are you going to start in the second IP? When are you going to expand your team? When are you going to be building out the company? All of this should be in there, and it's something that a lot of developers and a lot of startups keep forgetting. You should be treating this as a mixture of a tech startup pitch and a game pitch. Because yes, projections are, at the end of the day, just projections. You never know how much your game is going to sell. But in the terms of the company, the roadmap, how you're going to be planning it out, that needs to be in there. Also, another thing that people forget a lot is that when you come to us to pitch, we're expecting you to at least have done the most basic research. So one time I had a pitch coming to me just saying like, oh, hey, Slapped, I would love for you to make a video for us. And Slapped is my old gamer tag, and I was signed up as an investor. It was very clear who I were there, and he thought I was an influencer looking for like a gig. That is an instant no for us. It's important that you research like who are your meetings, what do they want, what do they need, and how are you going to be combined? What I always recommend to any gaming company is that you should have one pitch deck for an investor, that is equity investment or project funding, and one deck for just the game itself, like a general one. And finally, you should have one you can adapt. So what I mean by that is that if you know that we're going to be a good fit for you, add in a slide about GTR and why we're a good fit for you. Or if you know Garena is a company that might be able to publish your game, then add in some slides as to why they are going to be good for your game. That is something that's always forgotten, like a personalized pitch, just like when you're applying for a job, right? When you go to a company to get a new job, you do a cover letter. You should be doing the same for investors and publishers in this industry. I already went over this slide a little bit, skipped ahead, but basically it's super hard right now to pinpoint, what country and what market is going to be interested in your game, which is why we've been developing our new product, which I'm about to dig into. But before we go into that, let's talk about a community. I talked about data. I talked about actually, preparing your product with like a small focus group, with people anywhere that you can find them. When should you start doing this? For us, we think this is as good as possible right after your concept, because gaming is something beautiful. It's entertainment, yes, but it's also art. There's a lot of really cool character artists out there. There's a lot of really good screenshots, a lot of good game builds that never actually get made, but it looks like incredible. Like for us to see, a random Thai or a random Brazilian or a random Swede create something so pretty is super nice to take a look at, and we can see what's in your mind. What do you want to develop into the future? So we recommend to start spreading this right after you have the concept and started on a prototype. What I mean by spreading is that I mean that you start like posting this everywhere. Post it on on Reddit, post it on Twitter, on Discord, share it, tell people about what idea you have. So by the time you reach pre-production and the MVP and you're starting to build your product, you already have maybe 500 followers. And 500 followers might not sound like a lot, but actually it is. All you need is like 50 to 100 of them to be regularly involved with your product to keep improving it. Because again, the difference between a tech startup and a gaming startup is that the tech is technology, the game is entertainment. And entertainment, you're going to need feedback from your end consumer at all times. It's super important to have them involved throughout the whole process. So we recommend starting to build like an actual community after you have the first playable. So that means before the first playable, you spread screenshots, you tell people about your page, you go into Discord, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, and you basically like spread the word everywhere. You let people know, and you target them towards one funnel. So a funnel is a place, it's a channel towards something. We always recommend, at least for gaming startups, to use Discord as their main funnel, which means that every post you make on Twitter, every post on Facebook, every post on Reddit should go towards one place. We like Discord because it's a very good way to connect to gamers. It's a very good way to have direct access. So that's what we recommend for any gaming startup. Take all of your social medias and target them towards Discord. When you post a screenshot, target them to join your Discord to learn more and know more, get involved. So by the time you reach this beta stage here, you might have 5,000, 10,000 followers that have been with you the whole time. After that, of course, you have the gold launch, you have the live ops, etc. That is either going to be managed by you or a publishing partner that you're working with. So take all of these tools, use them wisely, use them as early as possible, show people what you're capable of, because I love going on Twitter and seeing like a beautiful 3D character or 2D character that's been created by a talented artist. I love taking a look at a 30-second trailer that's out there of something that's, just a concept. Be more like out there, like don't be afraid to like grasp out. And it doesn't have to be in English. So if you don't speak the greatest English, it doesn't matter. I look at Japanese and Korean and Thai and other countries all the time. They pop up on my Twitter feed and I look at them. And there's, we're in 2020 nowadays. It's very easy to find a translator. It's very easy to, ultimately find a way to communicate with each other. So don't worry about the language barrier. Now, G-Round, that's our next product. I only have, I believe, 15 minutes left, so I'll try to do this very quickly. But we have our investment and accelerator company. We talked about that briefly. I gave you some quick advice on how to pitch to publishers and investors. But ultimately, as an investment company, we don't have unlimited money, right? Every year we invest in 10 companies. So we wanted to create a product that could actually help even more, like start involving all of these issues I brought up about data, about finding your target market, about getting the feedback that you need, improving your product. There is no one tool right now that does all of this in one place. So we wanted to create something that could do all of that while at the same time actually give you access to global communities, give you access to influencers, and actually get your game tested in every market possible digitally. So we created a product called G-Round, and we've actually been in pre-alpha for 1.5 months now, so you can find it online, gameround.co, and check out the website and test some of these developers' games. So the purpose of the platform is, number one, you can find global communities and markets. You can identify those markets, like, okay, after testing the game here, that Thailand likes your game, or Sweden likes your game, or Japan likes your game. We want you to find that out before you launch the game. We also want you to be able to build that local community before you launch the game in those countries, which is going to be your top markets. And then we want you to be able to get feedback from reviews and surveys during the testing period. And we can also track the in-game events through our integrated SDK. So going into that, as an example, some of the key metrics, right? You upload the game on our platform. You get it tested to thousands of gamers all over the world. We, of course, take care of all the Google Analytics on the side, which is, of course, like how many people are looking at your page on our website, how many people are actually downloading the game, how many reviews, what is the retention. We take all of this, of course, basic data from Google Analytics to take a look at your game. How are you performing versus the other game stats that week? And most importantly, which is your top country, right? That is what I've been talking about earlier in this deck, that it's important that you bring data to investors and publishers. So what are your top countries and why are they your top countries? So when you look into the reviews that these countries have given you, you're actually going to be able to see that, oh, okay, Koreans love my game, or Thai people love my game. And then by the time you launch, you can take this and spend most of your marketing money, in that case, on Korea and Thailand. Because if you know that Korea and Thailand loves your game way more than any other country, why would you spend money in Sweden or in Germany or in France, right? So that's something that currently doesn't exist, like pre-launch marketing data and insights. And that's what we kind of want to bring to the table. So that by the time you come out with your limited marketing budget, let's say you have $50,000 or $100,000, you can spend it in the right markets, get more success, get more sales, and you can scale out over time. And then, of course, you can pick these metrics and you can show what did you actually get from our platform and present it to our partner publishers and investors or other publishers and investors, right? So you take this like big report card that you have and you look into it, you take a look at all the reviews, all the positive data, and now you can go to specific publishers and investors. To give you a great example is that if you notice that, well, let's say Japan. Japan absolutely loves your game. They think it's going to be great there. Now you know that, you have data to actually prove this. Then you can go to a Japanese publisher and you can license your game to a Japanese publisher only. If you're one of those gaming startups that want to publish yourself, release your game to the market by yourself, trust me, you can't do that all over the world. I mean, there's no way that you as a small startup knows how to market to Russians or Japanese or, like Americans, Southeast Asia, everywhere all combined. So if you have direct access to data in certain countries, you can license it out in those countries where you're not fully aware of how do I reach the Japanese or how do I reach the Chinese. And that's something that you can do with access to the data that we have. So the way that we do this is very simple. You reach out to me, one of my colleagues, you send us your pitch deck, your company deck, the product itself, of course, so an actual playable build. You let us know what your KPIs are. Do you want to use our platform to get feedback on the product so you can make a better production roadmap? Do you want to use it to get market insights, to prepare for your launch? What are your KPIs? Let us know so that we can adapt it and tailor it towards your startup to make sure that by the time the test is over, you get everything you need to become a better company. And that's something that we do with GTR, and that's what we want to automate here with GRound. Once we've tested your game, because you do have to pass our internal review test, the reason for that is of course, that users all over the world are joining our platform, and if the game content is not good enough, they're going to leave because they're bored. So we want to make sure that the games are of some level of quality so that the users keep coming back for more and keep want to help the developers over and over. Once you've been approved by us, we take you through the system. We integrate the SDK with you so that you can take a look at all the in-game data of the events that you're doing. For example, how long they're playing. What character they're using, what weapons they're using, what skins they're using. Whatever you need to integrate, we can help you do. After all of that is done, we set up the first 2-week period. So the first 2 weeks of the test is open to everyone on our platform. Every single user is able to just come on there, play the game, and review it. The review takes 1 minute only. It's not a long survey, and then you'll get basic data. This can give you like a review score. It can answer some of your basic questions. And there's also like an extra explanation in the bottom where they can add like extra comments that they want to give you. Now, after this is done, the first 2 weeks, we do another 2 weeks of a global survey period. So now this is more in-depth. This is something that we do together. Once we've reviewed the initial data, we know, okay, what do we want to ask next? What is the priorities here? And then we launch your game for another 2 weeks, and you put it on the platform, everyone plays it again, and they can answer your survey so that you get even more feedback that you need. Now, after the first 4 weeks, we have the final 2 weeks. So the total testing period is 6 weeks in total. The final 2 weeks is going to be open to your top countries only. So again, if we see that Thailand, Japan, and Korea are your top 3 countries, let's open specific communities for you in just those 3, so you can directly communicate with your best markets. So once you can communicate with the best markets, you can already start preparing that, okay, so Thailand is one of my best countries. Let's maybe add some Thai culture in there. Let's maybe add some Songkran skins there or some Thai music. However you want to adapt to that specific country, talk to the users directly and ask them what they want. Maybe they want that, maybe they don't, right? That's something that we want you to be able to do before you launch. So instead of like launching your product, getting all the feedback after, you do this way before. So now you're prepared, you have a stronger launch strategy, and after this 6 weeks, now you have 3 choices, right? Depending on what KPIs you gave us, you either go to market with the marketing budget that you have, you know which are your like top countries now, start spending money there. Or you got all the feedback that you needed, change your production roadmap, add the extra features, add the missing ones. Number 3, maybe you got negative feedback, Maybe the feedback that came back said that your game is not ready, or your game needs more, you need a lot of changes. That's good. That means, you can now step back, take a break, look at your overall project, create a new roadmap, and then you can either come back to GRound and test again, or you can do your own type of testing before you launch it. And of course, the final 4th thing, or the rest of the 4th thing, is that you can present this to the correct publishers and investors once you feel like you're ready. So this is something we've been building for the last 2.5 years. We started development like early last year. Now, of course, we are here in Thailand to launch this as well. So we have our GTR company here in Thailand. We're currently got a BOI application here in Thailand as well. So we're going to be a BOI approved company within the region. And we're going to have our GRound team out of Thailand as well. So we have 2 offices here, basically. We have our GTR acceleration team. We have our platform team. We're looking, and we would love to support more startups within the Thai gaming industry. So in a nutshell, what the GRound platform is, it's a perfect solution for game startups and studios to actually find their ideal regions to market and localize their game before launch. Again, before launch, we want you to be much more ready than you are now. And then because of that, you can maximize your revenue because you'll spend your money more efficiently because you're targeting the right countries way before. And you'll also be able to figure out your potential. And because of that, you might be able to actually do some better projections on your total sales, which you can use to provide confidence to people like myself. You can come to us and be like, I have all of this data. Would you like to be a partner or invest in my company? And you can also provide opportunities for other publishers and investors. And most importantly, this is all done digitally. I myself travel to all these gaming events over the world, GDC, Tokyo Game Show, BIC in Korea. I'm at all of these. I'm going to keep going to all of these. But a lot of companies right now, they go to these events for the information that I just showed you. They want to show their game to the audience. They want to test it with the local crowds that are there, attending the event. Why not do it to 10 countries at the same time for the same price as you traveling to 1 or maybe 2? That's kind of what we want to be able to support. So yeah, that's pretty much this presentation. I try to do it within the time frame. So globaltopround.com is our investment and accelerator. If you are a game company, you have a product that you really want to present to us, you can do that at any time. You can find us online. And for G-Round, if you're interested in a service like this where we can help you scale your company, help you find the target markets, then we're available on any of these links, or you can just send me an email. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you very much, Pontus. I do have some questions prepared for you. All right.
Of course.
Okay, first question. Okay, I work in music, and there's a term called trigger cities. So basically, there are cities that can determine what song or which artist would be big all over the world. For example, like mainstream pop music from the West, before they can break out globally, sometimes they get big here in Southeast Asia. So are there any game genres that work within specific territories that, can expand outwards from there?
Yeah, so that's a yes and no kind of question, because I'll use the greatest example there is. Like MOBA games right now, so League of Legends, Dota 2, all of these games, they're the biggest games in the world by far on PC all over the world, right? But the mobile version, ROV and Strike of Kings and Mobile Legends and all these games, they're only popular in Southeast Asia and, well, now Latin America, I think, as well. So yes, there is certain genres that kind of fits the global market, but then there comes the question of the platform as well. Because, even though MOBAs is the most popular, actually PC is the only relevant one for NAEU, while, the mobile version is relevant for Southeast Asia, etc. But if you want to attack, the big boys, so to speak, or like the Garenas and the Tencent, you need to have an incredibly unique idea, because trying to go up against these people with millions and millions of dollars in marketing is not very great. So normally when I get a pitch in the same genre as these big companies or big genres or oversaturated markets like battle royales, we're not very interested, to be honest. There are so many genres right now where we need, more content, like, the Diablo genre, for example. There's not a lot of those games. That is doable, but trying to target the big ones is not a good idea. So I would say that yes, there are some major cities, if you can check certain countries in each region. So in Southeast Asia, Thailand and Philippines are very good baselines. If your game has been tested in one of these countries and it's popular, it'll probably be in the rest of Southeast Asia. In Europe, the same goes for UK and Germany. If your game is successful there, or people like it, it will probably be successful in the neighboring countries as well. So a similar, but not 100% like the music industry, yeah.
Yeah, my next question is kind of related to what you were saying a little bit just now about story writing in gaming. So let's say if there was this kid that, well, is not a developer, but would want to become a game writer. What are the elements of a good game, a good game story?
That's a very good question, because actually game stories nowadays are not very common, right? A lot of games focus on the gameplay before even digging into the story. If you want to be a game writer, you need to find a partner to work with. And why I say that is because writing for a game, it's not just writing a story. You need to actually understand what game design is, because everything that you do, every dialogue you write down might not actually work in a gaming environment. So I would suggest for you to team up with a producer or with other types of production side of a game to understand what goes into a process. When you write a dialogue, how does that actually get put into the game? Is small talk going to be relevant? Do you want to throw in some jokes in there? You need to understand all the tools within gamings, like Miro boards and other stuff that developers use before you can become a game writer. So it's not just writing a story. Writing a story is great, but it has to be implemented into the game too. And for the second part of your question as to what good elements, right now, honestly, it's all being relatable. The characters that you design and the characters that you write need to be relatable to today's trends, today's art styles, today's movies. It needs to be something that people can connect with just by looking at it. And it doesn't have to be 3D. It doesn't have to be super cool. It just needs to remind them of something. So if you have a 2D game, take inspirations from successful 2D games in the last 5 years. What is the current trends? What are the current colors? It's more about the the appearance of the characters and the appearance of your game rather than the story behind it nowadays, to be honest. So very rarely in today's like industry do you have to have the best story ever. It's rather about the gameplay and the characters. So I would say game writers focus on creating like a person or an object or, you know, like a fantasy character that people can relate to. That's really what it is.
All right. Thank you very much. I have one more question for you.
Yep.
All right. You mentioned that for a game developer, they should start, you know, talking to their community and promoting their game idea since pre-alpha stage. But wouldn't that be prone to their ideas being stolen? How could they prevent that?
Yeah, great question. So I should have elaborated on that, I guess. So when I say like communicate, I don't mean like showing, you know, all your tools or like coming out and, you know, showing everything about the game. I mean showing like parts of your concept. So that means, you know, like concept art, even like as early as drawings before you even have it in the engine. It can be, you know, like a part of your prototype or like a part of the mechanic that you want to show. So it should never be like your whole game. Never like show, you know, your entire demo like 3 years before you're going to be releasing it, because then again, like you said, it might actually be stolen. Now, if you still want to show the whole game because you need feedback or other parts to help your development, then use an NDA. But generally, you know, your community doesn't want to sign an NDA. So we always recommend, you know, share concept arts, like mechanic concepts. Don't show the finished product. So even if you have, you know, like a 1 hour demo that is fully finished, but it's like 3 years from launch, don't show the whole thing. Show 5 minutes or show 30 seconds or take some of the arts from it instead of the video. Like take peeks, be very smart about it. And yeah, there's a fine line between the two. But honestly, you can ask any advisor that you have within the gaming industry will be able to give you like a filter, or you can email me and ask and I can give you a filter. So there's a fine line between showing, you know, concepts, showing like parts of your product and showing the whole demo. So try to find that fine line or make your own of what you believe. If someone steals this part of my concept, I'm going to be in a bad situation. But if I post over here, they won't. And then just stay above that fine line. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Pontus. We're out of time now. So have a good day and hope we can get to see each other in real person, in real life later. All right. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And that's the future of game development and online gaming. Certainly a fast-growing industry with a lot of opportunities. And we thank our moderator ต้องขอขอบคุณคุณปิยพงษ์หมื่นประเสริฐดีนะคะแล้วก็สปีกเกอร์ของเราคุณ Pontus Mahler ค่ะเดี๋ยวช่วงนี้พักกันสักครู่นะคะช่วงหน้าว่าด้วยเรื่องของ Virtual Tour ในพิพิธภัณฑ์นะคะจะเป็นอย่างไรเมื่อพิพิธภัณฑ์ต้องรับมือกับวิกฤตโควิดด้วยทัวร์เสมือนจริงเราจะกลับมาพบกันในเวลา 14:40 น.นะคะอย่าเพิ่งรีบไปไหนนะคะเดี๋ยวเจอกันค่ะ